I don't know if we can have an exam. Tuone nani alikuwa anasikia, nani alikuwa anasikia. But we've covered a lot when it comes to loans. Just a quick recap, Zipporah, even as maybe you introduce yourself for anybody who's tuning in for the first time today and they're like, who ni nani yako hapa kwa studio? You can introduce yourself and maybe just do a quick recap of the topics we've tackled so far.
All right. Wow. Good. Is it an evening or afternoon?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, our listeners. Once again, this is your credit professional expert, Zipporah Njoroge Gikonyo, and I'm a credit professional in my areas, helping companies, businesses get out of debt, individuals get out of debt, and also managing on the other side of credit management. So that is my area of expertise. And for the last 3 weeks, so this is the 4th session. We've been learning about debts, and I think where we started was what is a debt or what is a loan. We also moved from there. We talked about what is a good loan or a bad loan. I think that we've talked. We also talked about causes of default, why you failed to pay or to honor your obligation. And I think last week we were talking about consequences of defaulting.
Yes.
And maybe if I'm to ask, to what? Because as a teacher by profession, I would be setting an exam for today. Actually, today we should not have been a show, but an examination to ask people or to tell people, give us, the what is a debt? Define what is a debt.
Is a debt evil?
Yeah, is a debt evil? So explain, discuss 10 marks. So those are some of the things maybe that we would have done today. But I'm happy that today we are speaking to the youth, to their parents, and to anybody listening to us this afternoon. I think today, Kadis, we've said that we are talking about how to prepare for future borrowing.
Yes.
I think we said at some point we have to borrow. You find yourself in a situation you have to borrow. So do I wait until when a need to borrow comes? Or can I lay a ground that will prepare me for better borrowing tomorrow? Or can I lay a ground that will even prevent me from borrowing? Because we said when we borrowing comes with an expense. There is a charge, there are penalties involved when you default, there is an interest charge. We say that a debt will never come free. It comes with costs because the person lending to you is in business. So for now, as a youth, if you are in the youthful ages or in the youthful bracket, I think it is the time to ask, how can I prepare myself to be a good borrower or even to take a good loan? Because we say there is a bad loan and there is a good loan, right? I think that is what we are supposed to look at today. And we normally say that bad credit robs people their dreams, like starting a business, attending school, finding a job. So I think we have come to an age whereby we find that people are asking, are you listed by the Credit Reference Bureau?
Yeah.
Are you listed with the CRB? And if you are listed, you find that it becomes difficult for you to get a loan. So what if that loan was to build a business that would even employ the youths who are out here who are lacking? You see, would fail to obtain that facility.
Yes.
So all we need to do is we need to build a positive score. We need to have a positive, so that when time comes for us to borrow, our profile is not tainted. Or we've not been borrowing the digital lenders and failing to pay. We have not been borrowing maybe from institutions like banks and failed to pay. And then we find ourselves now that when we want to borrow for a good reason, we are prevented from borrowing.
Wow.
So I think what really we need to do, and I think this we tackled when you are talking about financial management or what you call personal financial management. I think it boils down to that. For you to, I think there's one who says that to predict your future, you start living your future now. So how your future will be, it has to start now. So even in credit management or in debt, we normally talk about now, if you want to build a good profile for borrowing, I think number one, we go back to the basics. You have to save.
Savings.
And where do I save? I usually tell there are so many vehicles for saving. And when I'm talking about now you want to borrow from the market, I think I'm not talking about the chamas that people have, because a chama can only go so far. So I'm talking about like you can select a good circle where you can start now savings. And I usually say saving is a habit and you will form it over time. So you can join a good circle, and maybe someone will tell me there are circles out here that are a fraud. I tell people you can go to Google and seek circles that are registered with SASRA, the Circle Regulatory Authority. SASRA. Yes, there is a body called SASRA, Circle Regulatory Authority. Those circles that are listed there, they've been vetted, they are good, and you can join one circle. Start saving in the circle.
Wow.
Why do I talk about saving in a circle? I mean, for me, I'm a beneficiary of a circle in many ways. And one thing I've realized, when you start saving early, you will actually build a lot of savings, shares, that when you want to borrow, you may not even need anyone to guarantee. Because the guaranteeing business also is usually another issue where you guarantee someone, they default, and then you lose your savings, you lose your shares.
So the earlier you start, the better.
The earlier you start, the better. And I usually say, for me, I usually tell even the youngsters, a circle is a must. And I usually, when you first get your first job, enroll with a circle. Get into the habit of saving. So when you're in a circle, the day you want to borrow, their circles will give you 3 times of your shares. There are some who give you even 5 times of your shares. So whatever kind of a loan you want, whether an emergency, whether a development, whatever loan that you want, you can obtain it from the circle.
Wow.
And why the circles? Because if you look at the interest, is usually not so high. And again, every year you're also earning dividends of around almost 10% of your savings.
Wow.
Yes, so that even when you borrow, when you compensate now from what you have earned as a dividend, you find yourself in a better position.
Wow.
So preparing yourself for future borrowing, start by saving.
Start by saving.
Start by saving.
Wow.
So the other one,
unaweza weka kidogo kidogo tu. Tukiongelea savings,
yes,
on the other series before we got into this one,
yes,
we looked at hata punch, hata sotano.
Very
Ni
true.
kitu unaweza weka.
Yes. I think me saving, I'm taught by my chicken. When I have chicken and they lay an egg, today one lays an egg, tomorrow 2. By the end of the week, I have a whole tray. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, just 1, 2, 3, and you have so much. So I think, as you've said, we need to get into saving. Start small, and you will become addicted into saving. By the way, once you start saving, you get into an addiction of saving. You want to have more and more in saving.
Wow.
Start it early as possible.
Saving.
Right.
At least hapo mimi kama Mankaris,
yes,
kuna kitu naweka mahali, so naona nimeanza kuprepare vizuri.
Umeanza kujipanga. Sasa utakuwa na issue ya nitaenda wapi, nitatoa wapi, nani atanikopesha when that time comes. Right. The other one, I've been getting communication through my WhatsApp, through my SMS, and someone has been asking me, I'm an SME, I'm a small business. What do I do for me to build a credit profile? I think number one, also open a bank account. And I'm happy as Kenyans, we are so advantaged that we have the pay bill manenos, till number manenos. Stop taking cash. Allow your customers to pay you on those portals, So because your account now will start building, it has an income. You have a proof that, yes, I have this business and these are my sales. So it becomes easier. So work with a bank. Choose a bank that you can work with. And we are also lucky, banks are no longer asking for deposits. When we started opening banks, I won't mention which bank, but I know we were told you must raise like 5,000 for you to open a bank account. We are not living in those eras. So I would tell our listeners today that open a bank account. When you open a bank account, the banker will see that you have transactions, you have a running business, and they're able even to get your cash flows, and they're able now to determine how much to give you when you want to borrow from the banks. So bank account, a must. Usiseme sitaki kufungua account because sitaki kuonwa na taxman. Then when time comes for you to borrow, I mean, wacha tuache hiyo tabia ya kusema tu mimi na dealing na cash, because that cash will not be enough for you when you want to do a major investment for your business. You might need a partner to work with. So a bank account. Yes.
Niko na biashara on the side.
Yes.
Tafungulia bank account.
Unaifungulia account. Wacha iran pole tuendelee vizuri. Sindio? Then the other one, I tell people, acquire assets. Acquire assets. Hata kama ni shamba, acquire tu kitu inaweza kukusaidia one day. You need a collateral or you need a security. Because the banks, when you're borrowing, they're always asking you, do you have a collateral? Do you have, an asset that you can give as a pledge in the event things don't work out? Do you have a car? Like the car you have, or whatever, you can use that car as a security for funding. So that is also another thing. So, and that is why we normally talk about having a personal balance sheet. So a balance sheet, we are talking about now, you must have the assets, and because you'll also get into having liabilities. So unakuwa make sure you have pale juu una fixed assets zile ambazo ni kama nyumba, kama gari, kama fixtures, hizo furnitures, hata kwa ofisi. You find that they can one day come and help you when you want to maybe to get into borrowing.
So for a young person tuned in right now,
yes,
maybe ndio amepata kazi ama amekuwa akifanya kazi,
yes,
hana a lot of responsibilities.
Sure.
Hakuna sijui ajaoa ama ajaoleka. Assets is a way you can advise they go. Yes. Weka pesa yako, nunua kitu, nunua asset, ikae hapo.
Ndio. Yes. So that way unajipanga for future. Because an opportunity will come that your saving may not be sufficient. You need someone to hold your hand so that you're able to maybe acquire that asset. So that is required.
Nice one.
Yes, and then the other one, I know you want to take a break. I know the other one is you can invest in what we call shares. You can invest in treasury bills or in bonds. And especially now, the government is mopping out.
How does that work?
I think for you to trade in treasury bills or treasury bonds, there's a difference. Treasury bills are short-term investments, which are usually mainly 1 year, right? So it is usually 3 months, or you can take for 90 days, or 180 days or 360 days. So you what you need is to open an account with Central Bank. I know many people like me, I used to also be ignorant. I thought Central Bank was pahaliwezi ingia because they are soldiers wanakuanga pale nje. But imagine when you go in there, you get impressed. You find our old mothers, our old dads, they are there queuing, and they are there investing in treasury bills or treasury bonds. So bonds are usually long term. They can be 10 years, a 5 years bond, a 10 years bond. So those ones are normally. But what the beauty about treasury bill and bonds, that every 6 months, you earn your interest in advance. Unadepositiwa kwa account yako. So you can invest in them. And sometimes even when you have the treasury bonds and bills, you can also use them when you want to get a borrowing. So you can use them also like a security. You can, you can use those bonds as a security. So unaenda Central Bank na saizi, I think you can also do it online. You may not need to go. You can open an account with the CBK, and then you start investing. I think for treasury bills, as little as 50,000, 100,000, you're good to go. But for bonds, sometimes they require a lot of money. So you start small as you go on. Right.
And then what I'm getting is, as we prepare for future borrowing, you being in that space can also enable you get the money when you need it. Wow.
Yes.
Naenda kuangalia kama niko na mahali naweza weka kakiru bana.
Wacha
tuende kwa biashara. Alafu turudi tuendelee.
Sure.
And people are appreciating. I see people writing in and say from day one they've been following this conversation.
Nice.
And mwafungua macho, wamejifunza mengi.
Yes.
Yeah, so also want those messages to come in because, Zipporah has given her time every Tuesday. If you have a question, you want to tell us something, you can use my WhatsApp number 0717 400 555. Tuendelee, tulikuwa number 5 sasa.
tunaenda number 5.
Tunaenda number 5.
Wow, how to prepare as a youth for future borrowing. Right. Na remember tumesema it's not a must you borrow, sindio? But unajikuwa tu tayari because an opportunity may come your way, and a beautiful and a good opportunity, and the funds you have are not sufficient. So where can I turn to? So one, we've talked about opening a SACCO account, opening a bank account, transact in the bank. Stop transacting under the table, sindio? Transact in an account. That way you're building a credit history. You're building your profile for future borrowing. We've talked about acquisition of assets. So it's mbaya, have an asset. And it could be even in form of a plot, hizo zote, gari, that is still in line with an asset. Then we've talked about investing in treasury bills. And now number 5, we are talking about increasing knowledge to increase your earning. Increasing your knowledge to increase your earning. So that's also another key area whereby, you know, I find some youth saying, the much I'm earning is so little, how now can I, how can I improve my life? I think an area that you can improve immediately is on acquisition of knowledge. Learn on how to do things here and there. That way you'll increase your chances of earning, you increases your chances of saving, and also even when time comes you want to borrow, you will have, a better earning, a better pay slip that can support not only your living, but can support repayment of a facility that you obtain from a bank. Right? So increase knowledge to increase your earning, right? Sindio? Yeah. Unapata mtu vile tu tulitoka campus, hata kakosa hajawahi fanya, uko tu hapo una lament my employer, hata haona, hata ka skill, hata ka kufanya graphics, hata ka skill ka, ka photography, ka weekend unaweza enda ufanya, ama ka baking, all those skills.
To cupcakes.
Yeah, so those
I love that.
Yes.
I really, really love that because mahali tumefika saa hizi, unakuta employment, just being employed, rarely gets you anywhere.
Sure.
You need those skills. And I also think the young people have the time and the energy to learn a skill or two.
That is, unless imagine nowadays they are online. Yeah, we have you have all manner of schools online where you can acquire these short skills that will prepare you, that will increase your earning capacity.
So unaweza kuwa na kidogo kidogo inakuja inakuwa mingi, inaongezeka.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Nice.
The other one is that we need to do is we need to maintain a positive credit score with the credit reference bureau. I think, as I said last time, that being a debtor is not a death penalty. I still repeat that. Don't feel like you're condemned for, forever because your status is not good. We can reverse your situation. And how can you reverse your situation? Is first getting to know where you are, and then you now draw a path of where you want to go. So if in case you have borrowed, creditors are all over you, you can sit down and, come up with a plan. How do I sort these creditors of mine? And how do I now start building myself so that I can have a positive CRB listing, a positive, right? Because most people, you realize that they are negatively listed in the credit reference bureau because they borrowed here and there and they have not been repaying their loans. So if you are in that state, don't give up. Start building your profile with the credit reference bureau. By doing what? By repaying your loans. So unalipa. And we said when you think of repaying your loans, always start with the most expensive ones. Start with the expensive ones, then the last ones will be those that are not very expensive. What I mean by expensive, loans that you are being charged a very high interest and the penalties. You remember we even talked about the education loan.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, about penalties. So try to work hard to maintain a positive listing with the CRB. That is a good score, a credit score. And I think for those who have traveled far and wide outside the country, they understand the importance of having a good credit score. When you're talking about a score, I think we said it's usually a number which ranges maybe from 200 or 250 to 900. So it depends. So the nearer you are to the 900, the more positive you are as far as borrowing is concerned.
Wow.
So maintain a positive credit score with the CRB, right? The other one is that you can also do to prepare yourself for future borrowing is you can consider setting up an automatic payment or a saving, an automated saving plan or an automated repayment plan, so that if you find yourself defaulting, unashindwa kulipa madeni, ni ile unasema nitalipa na haulipi, you can just put a standing order. You can go and say, I want you to be saving to my circle using this standing order.
And they have really worked well
They work so well.
for me.
Exactly. Thank you.
Because even those bills
Yes.
that kama rent, nini mi hata na mshahara inaingiaga kama imeenda, but I sleep knowing watu wangu wako na mahali pa kulala,
Yes.
na kenye nafaa kuwekwa imewekwa kando.
Yes.
So if I worry, I'm worrying about other things, not those things.
That's true.
Wow.
Automating, right? Kuna watu inakuwa ngumu kutoa pesa uwepeleke, inakuwa tu, you find it, I don't know why we want to be attached.
Weakness kama yangu, ukishika pesa unataka kutatua mashida ya watu wengine.
Exactly,
unakuta you are into other people. Ukoje, umekula, so unakuta unatoa.
Yes.
So even for the discipline purposes, it's also very
it
good.
Helps you a lot. Yes, the other one is you must develop good spending habits. Try to purchase items on credit you can afford to pay off within 30 days. Kama tunasema, umesikia hapo, develop saving or develop good spending habits. Good spending
habits.
If you must take a handbag on credit, make sure you can pay it within 30 days so that you stop building yourself, kuwa uko na madeni mingi, such that even when you go to a lender and you want to get money for a project, you are told to list all the other people you owe money. Unapata ile loan unataka hata uwezi pewa because you have so many things competing for your salary, so you do not have disposable the income that you can spare for repaying the loans.
There's a question here.
Yes.
Saving in MMFs.
Yes.
You can comment on that.
Saving on MMF kindly.
Acha tuandikie in full. As she does that, you can continue.
Okay. Right. The other one we can talk about. I think also get into the discipline. Get into the discipline of saving money to purchase item. So we find ourselves like nimeona, I want maybe, I don't know, tunaitanga how many inches TV, sindio?
Ile kubwa
kama unaitaka,
unaona footballer ni kama wanacheza kwa
nyumba yako. Thank you. So get into the habit of saving to purchase it. I know out here tunaambiwa kuja, why deny yourself? You can have it outrightly, sindio? Chap. So here I'm here to tell you also that for you to build, your ability even to borrow for better investments, get into the business of saving to purchase whatever thing you want. Kama ni TV, kama ni mobile phone, I get shocked that in town they are telling you to take a mobile and pay for 6 months. I mean, where you can...
Kuna kijana alinunua hiyo mkopo unalipa kila siku.
Yes.
Ukichelewa inazimwa.
Niko na wengi sana, by the way, that we were managing. They've bought phones through that process. When you call them, they tell you, simu hata ilipotea. Walinifungia simu, sasa nitalipa aje? So you find that we want to acquire things using credit, and then now we get into a problem in repaying. So you get into the habit into the discipline of saving money for you to purchase the items that can be easily purchased without having to take the credit facility. Right.
I think MMF is money market fund.
Money market fund, okay. Money market fund, that's okay. With money market fund, I think that is also a good saving vehicle. I have benefited because the beauty with money markets, unlike now the treasury bills and the bonds, I can recall my money anytime. So it's also, the interest is also usually, it's calculated on compound interest on daily basis, that is. And I think most of them are ranging between 9 point something to around 11. So you can shop around with the one of the best insurance, because this is done mainly by insurance companies, where you can open a money market account and you can be also saving directly there. It is a good vehicle because any day you have a problem, actually it takes only, I think, 48 hours or 24 hours to get your money out of it. So that also can be a place where you can run for your emergencies. Instead, all the time I have an emergency, you are looking for someone to lending to you at an interest. I think that's also a very good vehicle for you to save.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
Unless there is another question, maybe.
That was the question that came in.
That is the question that came in. Yeah. So I think, as I have mentioned, having a positive credit score, very important. So we also say, always make sure you always make your payments on or before the due date. So that way you're also building your profile for future borrowing, so that you don't, taint your name here and there. So those are some of the things that you can be able to do. And I think the other part maybe that I may talk, you may, because I have from the questions we've been getting on the side, is that what do I do now that I'm in debt? I think I wanted to address one of our listeners who said that one, they borrowed from the SACCO, and then now, because I think they lost a job, so they were not able to service the loan, and because the loan was lesser, the loan was almost equal to the savings with the SACCO, they decided not to repay the loan and to let the shares equalize with the loan. I think there are many components that may affect that option, because you may realize that maybe from your savings, you have guaranteed other borrowers. So that also ties down. And if you choose to go that road, I think also it's very important that you communicate to your lender and tell them, this is my intention, so that they can calculate in good time. They can calculate for you what you need to pay, or what you need to top up for the shares and the loan to equalize. I think somebody had that challenge.
I remember
it sounded so, the way it was written on WhatsApp, it was sounding very, very difficult. I think I sent them again. Remember what we said, when you're in trouble, get in touch with your creditors. Do not just sit and wait. Get in touch with your creditors and discuss the matter. Because if you had a guaranteed others, there is no way your shares will be equalized with your loan, because already si umebeba mzigo ya wengine. So that becomes
labda pia wamechukua loan on the side, na leta shida kabisa. Wow.
Yes. Then the other one was asking, I think it's good to make it clear. Somebody else was asking, can I borrow like 20,000 for business? Maybe it's good to clarify, Karis. For me, I'm a credit professional, but I'm not in the business of lending. Yeah, so that should separate me from
Musikope
Zipora. Yeah, me, I'm a credit professional, a certified credit professional, helping people get out of debt, also helping institutions also
to get out of debt,
to collect their money from their debtors. So yes, that is my area. So maybe as far as borrowing is concerned, no. I think I've also sorted out the issue of someone with a business. How can they, and they're only selling cash. How can they go about it? They can make it a habit. I would rather you deposit, you sell on cash, deposit the money, tomorrow go and withdraw. Actually, there is no time the bank will ever tell you, suliweka jana. It is, they are normally called deposits, or they are deposits on demand. So anytime I want them, unaweka. So I would rather you, unaenda una deposit, kesho unatoa. What you are doing, you are building your profile. Pole pole tu. So account yako hata bank itakupigia. Imagine, I don't know whether you've gotten to that level where the bank can call you and tell you, hello, you've been banking with us. We want to appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I saw that with my tajiri kwa soko wa mahindi.
Yes.
Deposit money twice. Na ilikuwa pesa kidogo. And, he used to get calls and letters because nilikuwa naenda hata posta kuchukua barua zake. Sengine ananiambia nisomee hizo barua. Like they are offering him money.
Yes.
Disciplined guy. I learned a lot from being sokoni.
That is true. Yes, so that is a very important thing. And most SMEs, they are suffering, or even small coming up businesses for our youths. You are suffering because when you want a small loan of even 10,000, unaanza kupigia ma friends simu, unaambia nisaidie. And maybe if you had been depositing withdrawing, unajua kuna kitu, unajua ni vizuri tusaidiane leo. Kuna ile kitu tunaita turnover in your bank account. Turnover atachukua deposits, angalie withdrawals, yani anaangalia how active your account has been. You see that if you are banking on a daily basis and also withdrawing, it means you have a business that you are running. Yeah, and even when you are paying people, try to pay them from your bank. Una make sure unalipa wale wengine. Inaonyesha kuwa you are a good borrower because you are also paying others through the bank. Yes, so that now also builds you for a credit facility.
There's an interesting question here before to talk.
Yes.
Ask this for guys like me who earn less than 20K.
Yes.
How can we manage to save and repay loans? Getting less than 20K.
Yes.
And there's a kamat we did for percentage rent inafaa ikuwe hivi, hii inafaa ikuwe saving inafaa ikuwe hivi. I don't know what you can tell my listener here who's earning less than 20K.
Actually, I usually say it's not the much you earn that determines whether you should save or not save. That is something I have known. And I think as we were starting, I said, start with as little as 500 shillings. Set it apart. I think, Karis, if you do 500, you multiplied by 12, that will be 6,000. 6,000 multiplied by 10, that will be how much? So I think maybe, I didn't carry the calculations, but one thing is, if you're earning 20,000, I pray that you're not living in a 10,000 house. So I think rent should get to around 30%. 30% of your income. Another 30% goes to your, your daily another 10% maybe like to your utilities and all that. So hiyo ingine inabaki pale, labda transport nani. Just set apart even like 500. I think when I joined the SACCO myself, my salary was 15,000. It may be many years back, but wherever I worked, and I've worked in many places, I think my first salary, I was in a SACCO. Wherever I have been. And Akaris, I can take you through my journey in the SACCO. And I think in every place, every SACCO I left, when I left for a new employer, I always left with something tangible. Yes. You may not need, you don't save so that you can borrow. Also save. It is, when you're purchasing items outrightly without borrowing, it makes a whole difference. Kuna hiyo kafuraha na comfort. Si kama ni ya wenyewe. Wow. Nimesikia watu wanauliza, hii certified credit professional CCP watasoma wapi? Wanaweza soma wapi? Niliwaambia hiyo course inaexaminiwa na KASNEB. Tuko na colleges mingi. Kuna moja inaitwa Tumaini Institute, wanaweza enroll pale, wanasoma hapo. It's in town. We have other colleges, so it's relatively new, but I want to tell the youths, this is a course. If you are into the line of business, this is a course that can unlock for you employment.
Kindly give out your number once again. Ndio mtu akona swali, hata vile mahali anaweza train, because you are there, you can advise them. And you've given us information free of charge.
Sure.
I don't think there's any problem with you also advising them on the side on how they can register. So you can give out your number.
All right. In case you need to talk to someone or to talk to me about maybe your credit issues, not to borrow, but just for guidance you can reach out unto me. In case you also want to learn the certified credit professional, you can reach out unto me. And my number, as usual, I've been sharing in the other sessions. My number is 0722 68 11114.
0722 68 11114.
Exactly. Wow. You can reach out to me through that. You can also reach out to me on my social pages, Zipporah Njoroge, in YouTube, in Facebook, hizo zote tu. You will find me there.
On behalf of the young people, and of course even everybody tuned in, asante sana. I think we'll come up with something else. We talk about SMEs and we continue this conversation.